Welcome back to another video about these Q3 cameras. I made one a year and a half ago, maybe a bit less. It now has more than 90,000 views on YouTube. And in that video, I discussed the difference between the Q3 28 and the Q3 43. If you want to know the real difference between these and you're not really familiar with the different looks, the different specs of these cameras, I suggest that you go or head back to that video, watch that before you get back to this one. This one is gonna be more of me just showing the first year with having both of them. So 2025 kind of ended up being the first year that I got to shoot with both of these. And in one of the previous videos about these Q3 cameras, I was considering just selling my Sony a7 R5 and go with these for everything that I was doing. I have changed my mind a little bit. I have not sold my Sony. There are definitely things that I will not use these two cameras for, and I'm gonna get back to that later in the video. But before that, I thought I would just share some of the best work that I've done with these two cameras over the last year. There are some very professional photos in here. Some shots where I've just taken the cameras with me on holidays, to big cities, taking photos there. I've been doing weddings, and I'm just excited to show you guys the results. I know that personally, when I'm considering buying a camera, I would love to see more of the results. And it's fun to hear everything about the cameras, the specs, all of that. But it's also nice to just be able to see what it actually looks like. So I'll share with you a lot of examples. On the screen you'll see whether it's taken with the 43 or the 28mm. And at the end of the video, obviously, we're gonna discuss whether or not it's worth investing in these. Because a lot of the comments on the videos that I made was that the price tag of these cameras are it's just insane. And a lot of you are questioning if it's worth it or not. And spoiler alert, it's not. So I have my iPad here with all of the photos that I want to share with you guys. And the first one is from November 2024. It was just after I made that last video. It's Tiril, one of my best friends. She's a former athlete. So one of the shots that I've picked here is one where I was shooting through the window and we have all natural light from the outside. She's on a treadmill here in this room actually. And I love the colors of this one. I love the blue. I love the warmth from the sun shooting through the window in that way. And I just love the quality of this photo. Next one is where she is promoting this shoe brand that she is working with. And we wanted to have some of the details. We wanted to have some mud. And so just to kind of show that this is a casual shoe, you can see that she's wearing jeans, but you also get the colors. And I love, again, the orange yellow colors of the Leica Q3 cameras, especially the Q3 43. That's not this one, it's the other one. The Q3 43, I do feel like the yellow orange is a bit more dominant, better in a way with the Q3 43. So again, love this shot, love the crispy look, how sharp everything is. Then the next shot I want to share with you is a very corporate one. One of my clients, they asked me to come in and take a lot of portrait photos for them. I'm doing this on a regular basis. This is the two top executives of the company, and they needed some more shots for potential press releases and stuff. So this is a great example of how the camera also works in a setting like that. The other day, one of my clients called me up saying that she was worried that the music we were going to use in the video wouldn't be good enough for what we wanted. I told her not to worry, we got Musicbed. I told her that Musicbed has seriously premium music that just sounds right in the videos, and it will be easy for us to find the music we want. Now they also offer sound effects, which makes it a full sound design kind of provider. I'm so happy and proud to say that Musicbed is a sponsor of this video, and now you can get a free trial by using the link down below. Back to the video. Then we have some more creative shots. If you remember from my video where I was comparing these cameras, I had Bendik with me, a friend of mine who's also a photographer. We went out to have some more creative shots, and I just love how this came out. Love playing around with a little bit of a slow shutter and using things in the foreground. So thought this was really cool. Love that photo. And then we went to the US for Christmas, and here's my fiance in the barn. I really like this one. I love how it's kind of raw. You see that the light is maybe a little bit overexposed on her skin coming from the wintry landscape weather outside. And it still feels like super, super crispy and nice. And I really, really like it. So it's a great photo. And I don't know. If you could potentially get the exact same photo with other cameras, that was like one of the comments that I got after the last videos. But to me, there's something special about these Q cameras. And then it's just like, I guess you could call it a regular photo of a bridge in New York. I think this was New York. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't really remember. But this is just like a very simple shot. But I still think that the colors, the blue that you get out of these cameras, it's also really nice. And again, very clean shot. And then something that I was really looking forward to after getting these cameras was going to New York, bringing the Leica Q3 with me, and playing around with it in a city environment. So this was one of the first shots that I made down there. This was in Brooklyn. Really, really thought that was cool, especially with a little bit of foggy weather. Just really enjoyed playing around with it there. And then we got some more sun. We were still in New York, and this is my fiance crossing the street. Much more contrasty with like a silhouette kind of vibe. I also love this. It's great. I'm not saying that this is very unique for the Leica. I'm sure I could get the exact same shot with any other camera. But again, showing you some of the shots that I really liked from last year. And then we have this one, probably one of my favorites from last year without any people in it. This was taken from the apartment of my fiance's sister and her husband. And I thought that the lighting was great. And this is actually shot through glass, through the window. But I do think that it's really cool. I really like it. I don't know what you think, but I think that this is just like, again, says a lot about the camera and the quality of it. And again, like you can, with the quality of this camera, you can crop in so much and still have good high quality. The reason we were in Brooklyn that year, or for that month, was that Kristian's sister, she was getting married. And I got the honor of documenting this wedding. They had a civil ceremony in New York, and this is a photo. This is probably my favorite photo that I've taken with the Q3 camera, to be honest. This is a very alive photo where Emily is sitting in the car on her way to the ceremony, and I just love how much life there is, or we can see in this photo. I do realize that I'm falling more and more in love with black and white, especially with these cameras. And although this is almost a little bit blurry, you can see the motion blur. I love it. And you can see her smile and how she is excited about the day. So one of my favorite shots with the camera. Then we got to the courthouse where they were doing their civil ceremony. They actually got married. And we had some time to take some photos in there as well. Again, black and white, love that. And just think that this photo was great as well. And I feel like there's something about this, the Leica quality, right? Where you get such high quality, it's so clear, and yeah, super sharp photos in general. Then we were playing around on the streets of New York. This is one of the shots that I was also very excited about, where Emily is in focus, Tom a little bit less, but still on busy streets. Thought that was good. Trying to kind of, again, document these busy streets of New York, them walking around. Again, here another black and white photo. And then them kissing, still blurry. Starting to love this effect. Maybe I'm overusing it at times, but I think that it's really cool to play around with that. And then here you can see me playing around with the camera. I'm pretty sure I was shooting with actually Q3 28 more than I used the Q3 43 for this wedding, but you'll see that on the screen here. Another shot that we really wanted to get, and obviously they had a Pinterest board, so we were playing around with that, was this shot of Emily and Tom sitting outside a coffee shop reading newspaper, and I love that. I thought that was so cool. I also feel like their outfits really kind of complemented this style and this type of photography. Then I went to Copenhagen, Denmark, for those of you who are not familiar with Copenhagen, to do a job with one of my clients. And here I went to this wine bar. These shots of this guy, I thought that was really cool. Again, a little blurry in the background, but his very much in focus. I thought that was a fun one to play around with. He was very happy to have them himself, so I thought that was great. But again, like, this was where I was so excited to go down there and play around with the Leicas and just have fun with it. And then for the same client, I had to go to a hotel here in Oslo, Norway, and get some promotional photos for them to use for a campaign. And I thought that these were pretty cool as well, playing around with using the light from the hotel room, all natural light for everything here, and also taking some more like product photo-ish photos. I really enjoyed doing that. And it's fun when you can play around and try to be artsy while you are also working for a very corporate client. And luckily I have a few clients that are allowing me to do just that. And I'm very grateful to them for that, because it just makes my job much more fun. And then I guess, like, in some ways, a childhood dream came true in January last year, where I was able to work with one of the biggest soccer teams in Norway. They made it to the quarterfinal of Champions League back in the 90s. I grew up with this team. It's from my home city. And I got to work with one of their sponsors, and we were making videos. So the job was mainly videos, but I brought my Leicas and we took some still photos, or got some still photos as well. I've been loving using the Q3, both of them as kind of behind the scenes cameras. Again, using the black and white function just gives a certain vibe to it. So as you can see here, a black and white photo, but also taking portraits, some with color and some black and white. I thought that that was a great way to play around. The client was really happy with this. And also, especially because the team's colors are black and white, it really worked with the black and white vibe, in my opinion. I traveled a lot for my work last year, but then back in Oslo, I was shooting a concert, and this guy he was really hot last year because he was a part of this Norwegian TV show, and it was a lot of fun to play around. Like, I started my career doing a lot of concerts, and so getting back to that was a lot of fun, just being creative. And also, when you're shooting artists, you know that they are most likely creative themselves. And so just playing around, having fun with that, it just really makes everything much more fun. It was really dark in this room, and that is something that I'm loving about these cameras, because I am able to use the slow shutter effect in a way where I'm getting these creative shots, and I don't need that much light. And I know that some people were like, you could get the exact same thing with your Sony camera, slow shutter. And yes, I think that might be the case, but personally, and this is just my experience, it's easier to play around with a slow shutter with these Leica cameras. It feels like it's easier to get that sharpness where I want it. While with the Sony, I feel like it's much harder to get there. So yeah, just loving these shots from that concert. And again, client was happy, I was happy, and the artist was really happy as well. And then maybe the coolest job that I did last year. I'm a big fan of Oakley, and Oakley asked me to shoot my second campaign for them. So I've done one previously, and then I got to do another one. And just before we started shooting, I was playing around with the cameras. This is my best friend Kristian, and I was trying out, testing the light, testing the gear. And I thought this shot was really cool. I kind of wish that we could have used something like this for the campaign. The shots came out pretty well. I'll show them to you here as well. But they were not taken with the with the Leica cameras. It was with my Sony. As you can see here, I'm playing around with a 70-200 lens, and it just didn't work with the Leicas. We'll get back to why that is, but for these kind of shoots, it's much better for me to use the Sony, and it's not as reliable. But yeah, again, we'll get back to that. Here's a shot that I took with the Leica of my dog. We were up at the cabin, a lot of snow, and I just thought this was great. Not super sharp everywhere. It's a little bit of a blur, motion blur here as well. But I still think that it captures a lot. And again, I love the colors. The blue and the yellow orangey colors on these cameras, it's just perfect. Then I was playing around with my camera at a Red Bull event. I was doing quite a lot of jobs for Red Bull in March last year. And then the slow shutter here was just perfect. Like, I loved doing this, loved playing around with this. This is Brage Vestavik. He's a downhill cyclist. And so he had a premiere for a movie, a documentary at the night of shooting this. And yeah, just loved this effect from the hat, the blue, everything around. And yeah, again, the slow shutter effect, loving that. And then we have myself, actually, I put the camera next to me. I was on the bike. For those of you who don't know, I'm now a marathon runner. I've become obsessed with marathons. And so last year when I was injured, I had to do more indoor cycling. And I did this, was playing around with the flash and using my phone as hit the shutter on my phone. And I thought these came out pretty well. It was pretty cool. So I just wanted to bring this in here just to show how versatile this camera or these cameras are. And then also another really cool job that I got to do with Red Bull. We went down to Germany to shoot a campaign for or a summer campaign with one of their biggest stars, at least here in Norway. He's a great soccer player, Antonio Nusa, and it was a lot of fun working with him, but also fun to take these photos of him from outside, but also in the locker room. We were doing a lot of different stuff. We had an hour and we were pretty efficient, but I also feel like this photo is like, it's so simple, but it's such a statement. So love that. And again, just I feel like I'm a better photographer with the Leicas in my hand, if that makes sense. Then this is actually a shot where I'm the model myself. My good friend Espen, he helped me take some photos for my running, and I thought these came out great. I love the contrasts in this. Usually trying to play a little bit more with contrasts with the Leica cameras, but yeah, I thought these were really, really cool. And then we went to Iceland over the summer, and then there was this family. They were walking across this field, and I thought, oh, I need to get a shot of this. And I thought that it was perfect. I wasn't great at exposing here. As you can see, the clouds are a little bit overexposed, so not a photo that I will frame, but I still feel like it shows the qualities of the Leica Q cameras. And then we have this waterfall. Again, play with a slow shutter. It could be, like I said, that I'm exaggerating this, doing a bit too much, but I still love this and I love the colors in it. So I guess like what I'm trying to do by showing these shots is also just that you can use this camera for a lot of things. And so this one is definitely just an example of me taking the camera with me when traveling with my fiance, and her mom was also with us, like just playing around with it, not necessarily aiming at perfection all the time, but just having it as like a travel buddy in a lot of ways. And then first thing after summer, we had a very fun shoot. We actually did it up here in my living room, put up a gray backdrop and created some shadows with some plants and a light, an aperture 300x, a bit of warmth to that. And then we were going to promote this yoga event. But this was also a fun one for me because I got to play around with shadows. We didn't have to make it perfect with that clean backdrop in the background. It was okay to have the plants casting that shadow, or the shadow of them as well. So this is a fun shoot. I really love how the photos came out, and I also love that we were able to create this like daylight, almost like if you look at this, you will feel like the light is coming in from the left, which was definitely what I was aiming at. So a lot of fun playing around with this as well. And then we did some portraits of them, or like single photos of them, which also was cool. And I guess like this shoot in a lot of ways just made me more confident going into my next shoot, which was a wedding that I was doing. And I'm not really interested in doing much like weddings anymore, especially not full days. But this kind of shaped a new business model for me where I'm from now on will offer, and then it's going to solely be with my Leica cameras, but like this super professional high-end shoot between makeup and the party, or whenever they want to have these shots. Like it could even be on a separate day. But these shots of this couple, I love them. Some black and white, some in color, and really just playing around with natural light. I had my flash with me, but we didn't use it that much. And yeah, the natural light here, and they had a Pinterest board again, so they knew what we were going for. Like they asked me, and then based on that, they were also good at posing and finding ways of interacting with each other where it just made it such a good shoot. And I came home from this shoot so happy. And I am usually not that happy with my work, but after this one, I was just kind of blown away. And some of these shots, like these here, I remember coming home and I was like, these could have been in Vogue. I don't know if you agree, but that's also the feedback that I've been receiving from others. But personally, I just loved them. And I thought it was, yeah, really great. And then moved on to more client work for this Michelin star restaurant in Oslo. And this is just like a single photo that I chose to include in this because it's more of like details. And I thought that was great as well. And I really think that this proves the quality of the cameras. You see how sharp everything is. You can see his tattoos because they're also included in the focus of this shot. And everything is just, I like it. And then another example of just bringing the camera with you for a holiday. We were at the Canary Islands, an island outside of Africa, belongs to Spain, with my best friend and his family. And this is a photo of Kristian. And I just thought that was great. And it's such a privilege, to be honest, to be able to bring a camera of that caliber to when you're going on holidays. And now we're getting to something that I would love to hear your opinions on, because when you have a camera like the Leica Q3, 43 or 28, it's so sharp, the quality is so good, and we have started kind of simulating film in a lot of things that we're doing. And for me at least, I'm struggling sometimes because I like to add some grain every now and then, especially for Instagram shots, and if you want to make it more like cinematic documentary style. And so I was taking some photos for Kristian, and one of the bags that she made, she's been making these bags, and we thought that we wanted to promote it. And so I added some grain to it. And personally, I love that look, but it's also kind of taken away something from the sharpness of the camera. So I guess like in a lot of ways, you could argue that you wouldn't need that good of a camera for a shot like that. You could argue that regardless, but especially when you're adding grain. So this is where I have mixed feelings about it. I love this shot, just the simple shot of the bag, or Kristian with the bag with putting the shoes in there. But it's still a little bit hard to know what to think about adding grain to a photo taken with cameras like this. Then I keep repeating myself on like the shots that I'm the most proud of, but I'm not necessarily the most proud of this shot by itself. Like this is for one of my clients, Wallenius Wilhelmsen Shipping Company. This shot is cool, and I like it. And then we have these of the crew. They were asking me if I could take some photos, and these are going to be used as examples for photographers all over the world for their company when taking photos. And honestly, I was super intimidated when I was asked to do this because the ship was in a city close to Oslo for like a few hours. We didn't have much time, and I needed to just deliver there and then, immediately, great photos. And I was super intimidated and scared because my style is a little bit more just have fun, play around. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it would be great if it is. And I came home with this, and Kristian was telling me, this is your best work. And like this one, especially of the captain here, I thought that was great. We used a mix of natural light and a flash. And yeah, I am very, very proud of this one. I guess what I'm realizing now that I'm sharing this with you is that I'm actually proud of more work than I believed before I made this, which is fun. I think we all can learn from that and just like be proud of what we are creating. It's so important because we easily fall into the trap of feeling like, oh, I'm not happy with the work that I've done, or imposter syndrome. And then the last shot that I want to share with you, that was from a few weeks ago when we were in the Dominican Republic. Kristian took a photo of me at the end of the night, drinking sparkling water, actually. It doesn't look like it, but I thought this was really cool. And I just liked the vibe of it. It was, again, dark, so adding some grain to it. In this case, I thought that was really cool to add the grain. But again, I'm not sure if this is like the kind of shot where you would say that this is so unique for the Leica. Anyways, really like that. Those are the shots that I wanted to share with you guys. And I'm obviously curious about you guys' comments. I'm sure there are going to be some comments here being like, oh, these are not good at all. Some people are going to be like, I love them. Some people will also say like, this is not unique for the Leicas. And I agree with you on that. Like, there are definitely parts of this where I would say that it's not necessarily like this camera is so much better than a Sony or a Canon, whatever. But there are also parts of it where I'm like, okay, this is what I love about it. Like, this is why I want to use this instead. One of them is like recently, one of my clients, she was like, I saw that you're shooting Leica, bring that with you on the shoot because I would love to have some shots with that. And so it does, in some cases, not a lot of them, in some cases help you in terms of getting client work. And some people will look at you and thinking that you have better quality just because you have that. All that too, it's like nice, it's good, but I guess the question is like, why should you get one of these? If you are watching this, it's like, you're probably considering getting it, right? And I would say that it's a great camera if you can afford it, if it makes sense, if your clients want it, but also it's like you have the Fujifilm cameras now, they're great. If you know how to play around with that, you will also get a lot of the same things. And especially if you want to add grain afterwards, like then you could argue that it's a better option to just save that money. But if you were to like argue why, I would say that first of all, bringing this camera with you, like any of these two, it's super easy. And if people are not camera geeks, they won't know how much it costs. So it's a little bit safer than to bring one of the bigger cameras with big lenses. Also, I think that you take more pride. So that's like the mental part of this. For me, I've said it before, I get more creative with it. I play around more. You do have like super, super high quality, and it's definitely like when I crop in on these, it feels much more sharp than with the Sony. With the Sony, it feels a bit more like cartoon-like. I don't know if that is the right word to use, but that's how I usually explain it or describe it. And I personally am super happy with both of these. I was going to sell one of them, but I ended up keeping both of them. I was going to sell the Sony, but ended up keeping that one too. So for a lot of the work that I'm doing now, especially when I'm able to have people post, take the time, 10 out of 10 times, I would use this camera or the Q3 43. If I don't have the time, like with the Oakley shoot where this guy was cross-country skiing, he was moving fast, I really needed to have the ability to shoot more, have better autofocus, because again, like I said in the last video, the autofocus on these, it's not great. And I would also like to get closer without necessarily being closer. So like on a sports shoot like that, I think that is key. So for me, it's like, I think I said it in the last video, the Sony is my workhorse. That's the one that I will use at events too, because like for a lot of events when things are happening and you need to get that shot, the Sony is better in terms of autofocus, in terms of just taking a lot of photos without having to worry about not getting the shot. With these ones, it's much more risky. I don't know if it's gonna be great or not, but I know that if I have time, this is gonna be better. Does that make sense? So again, this video is probably not gonna answer everything. I hope that you got to see like that this is these are the results. These are the photos that I've taken with it. And this is also like a perfect camera to bring with you to get more creative, to have a lot of fun. But for the price that you're paying, I'm not sure. I feel like if you have a business that can pay for it, if it makes sense, if you can cover the cost of this with like a job or two, yes, then it's a lot of fun and it might be worth it if you really want it. But again, it's not the camera that I would buy if I was like just gonna have fun. Kristian just recently got a Fuji camera. That's more than good enough for you to play around with. You can do client work with it. But then again, like for those really high-end ones, like for that shipping company, I'm so grateful to have had this. So I'm mixed. I wouldn't be like, these are probably the last cameras that I would sell, but yeah, I think it's overrated, although I'm really happy with it. Probably a very unclear conclusion there. I'm sorry about that, but yeah. Yet again, like one of you guys said, yet another guy with a hat backwards, a mustache, and some tattoos talking about cameras. I guess that's me. And sorry for being away from this channel for so long. I'll try to be better at updating this going forward. And please let me know what you want on this channel, because right now it seems like the Leica cameras and the camera reviews are like what most of you are appreciating. The other ones are not really getting a lot of views. So appreciate you being here. Thanks again. Follow me on Instagram, Kristian Warwick, if you're interested in seeing more. And also, if you happen to be into running, I'm the host of the Marathon Podcast. You can also look up Warwick Runs here on YouTube, where I make running productions. Thanks for being here. Have a good day and good luck with your camera hunt.